Hello everyone, how are y'all doing? I am hanging in and I recorded this time-lapse walkthrough of this painting I made in my sketchbook the other day and thought I would share it with you in case you wanted to paint along with me. So as usual, my supplies are all linked below. I'll be painting in gouache, so if you're into it, grab your supplies, grab your sketchbook, get a glass of water, and let's go. We're going to be painting this Milky Way colorful archway landscape painting of Banff, Canada. Hopefully someday I will get to visit this place in person and paint it from life, but for now, we are working from internet reference. First things first, I wanted to draw the edges of my archway, so I started off by finding the center of my paper and I drew a half circle with my compass and then used my little ruler to make the other three sides and grabbed some washi tape and taped that down on the straight edges. And then, like most of my gouache paintings, I used my watercolors to paint in a bright colored ground. This one is mostly painted with opera rose and a little bit of cadmium yellow as well. I let that all totally dry. This is really important. Make sure your background is completely dry. And then I just really loosely sketched in my subject. When I work with my gouache, I like to keep things really loose. My drawings are never super accurate like they are when I work with watercolors. Then once I had my drawing in, I started to paint in the background, and as always, I like to try to work from background to foreground. It's a similar rule to when you're working with watercolors. And I also like to start out with the biggest brush I possibly can and work down to smaller brushes as I add in smaller details. It's always a goal of mine when I'm working with my gouache to use as few brush strokes as possible. I try not to overwork and overthink things. I like to lay in my color in dabs, and instead of mixing on my paper like I might with watercolor or with my oils, I layer solid colors on top of one another, and that's kind of what I'm doing here in these mountains. I build in different sections of light and dark to have the whole three-dimensional shape sort of come together. Learning a technique like this has actually taken a lot of practice. My brain naturally is a realist brain and it wants to paint in every single little detail, blur out every little hard edge, and that's actually not my goal most of the time when I paint with my gouache. So a style like this definitely did not come natural to me. It's come with lots and lots of practice. So go easy on yourself if you feel like you're kind of struggling or it feels a little awkward to paint in this way. I promise you, the more you practice, the more it'll come together with time. After I was happy with the basic shapes of my Milky Way in the sky, I started to dot in some stars. And as you can see, I'm not painting any white stars. I'm painting different color blues and pinks and purples to sort of blend out some of the edges. And if you look at photos of the Milky Way, you'll see there are actually a lot of colors, and it's not just a black sky with white stars over top. And I always try to keep this in mind when I'm painting my night skies. I think it makes them more interesting looking and adds a little bit of depth too. I did add in a few pinpoints of white paint up in the sky just to add a little drama, but not many. I didn't want to overdo it. Next, I started to block in the foreground with some dark greens. And I was really careful to have the greens in the background sort of more bluish and not super duper dark. And as I worked my way forward, I started to paint in some darker pine trees, and here you can see the results of what happened when you try to record with your phone and paint at the same time. Real rookie move here, just smashing my brush right off my paper like a clown. But when you've been painting as long as me and you've screwed up as many paintings as I have, you know how to recover pretty quickly, and I did so by just painting in a happy little tree, as our friend Bob Ross would say. I went over the trees a couple times to add a few darker layers. And then I went into the background and did a few last little details through the mountains. And that was that. Here is the finished piece. This probably took me about an hour total to paint, and it was just a really nice little break that I gave myself at the end of the day. I hadn't really painted much in the last week because I've been packing everyone's orders. Thank you so much. And if you painted along with me, please let me know. Tag me on Instagram. It's been super cool to see everybody's posts who've painted along with my other tutorial that I shared. And if you're into this, hit that like button, maybe subscribe, leave me a comment. I love hearing from you all. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.